We are talking about the most fun cEDH storm list you can play right now, Kraark and Thrasios. This deck single-handedly makes otters cEDH viable, and we're just throwing a bunch of birds in the deck. That way Valley Floodcaller untaps all our stuff whenever we're playing Enduring Vitality. There's a lot of really busted lines you can just kind of stumble into with this deck, so if you're a problem solver and you just love playing a deck and finding a new thing every time you play it, this is the deck for you. Go ahead and click on that one link, claim your free $15. If you're looking to flesh out your cEDH deck with high quality proxies, look no farther than Tolarian Library proxies. These are genuinely some of the highest quality proxies I've ever seen. Even if you just miss a secret layer, you can just order a proxy version and you can guarantee it's going to be similar quality to what Wizards of the Coast can produce. On top of that, they just don't bend, so I'm in love. Get 10% off all of your Tolarian Library proxies whenever you use code DT for D or click the link in the description down below. Now let's talk about what makes this deck so incredibly fun to play and so broken at the same time. I recently built an Iroh deck and stumbled upon the Enduring Vitality and Storm Splitter synergy. Enduring Vitality allows you to tap your creatures for mana, and then Storm Splitter is a 4 CMC Otter wizard that has haste, and whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you get to create a token copy of Storm Splitter, exile the token at the beginning of the next end step. So that's kind of exponential. It's like Scute Swarm but spells. So you cast one instant, you get 2, you cast another one, you get 4, you cast another one, you get 8, and it's not hard to see where you end up getting near infinite and then just flat out infinite mana by casting instant sorcery spells. Editor Caleb here. Some of the audio got corrupted, so I'm here to tell you why we're choosing Kraark and Thrasios as our commanders for this broken synergy. Kraark is perfect. He says whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, flip a coin. If you lose the flip, return that spell to its owner's hand. If you win the flip, copy that spell and you may choose new targets. Since Storm Splitter is a cast trigger, we're going to get the token copies whether we copy this or not. So sometimes we actually want the spell to get returned back to our hand. Because of this, having Thrasios as our partner makes it to where we don't have to continually cast an instant or sorcery spell that draws us any cards. We can literally just cast Snap over and over again, generate a massive board state of Storm Splitters, and either kill our table with those Storm Splitter copies, or we can just use Thrasios to draw our deck. Now, the key to this actually working is ensuring that we have multiple copies of Kraark on the battlefield or ways to double his trigger, and that's super easy to do in Teamer colors because of the vast amounts of creature tutors we have in this deck and the ability to double up on those creature tutors. Think of Court of Calling. If we double up on a Court of Calling, that's just going to allow us to not only grab our Storm Splitter, we can also grab Enduring Vitality, or we can grab Storm Splitter and our way to double up on the Kraark triggers. There's a ton of flexibility here. So now that you understand loosely the deck, we're going to go into the more nuanced combos. But just to recap, what you want to get the most clean win con is Enduring Vitality, Storm Splitter, you want Kraark on the battlefield, and then a way to double Kraark, and then you're casting something like a Jeska's Will over and over again for a ton of value, and you don't even really need Jeska's Will in this scenario because remember, you're generating the mana off Enduring Vitality. So even something like a Gitaxian Probe that draws a card and allows you to look at an opponent's hand is going to be amazing at just drawing your entire library as long as we have enough Vex to return it back to our hand. One of the sleeper cards in the deck is actually Valley Floodcaller. Now, we already know Valley Floodcaller is very, very good in this deck, but Teamer's just able to shove in a lot of birds and a lot of otters in the deck, and it just kind of makes sense, and it doesn't look weird, and then when you have Valley Floodcaller on the battlefield and Enduring Vitality, you kind of just can do the Storm Splitter thing because you're able to generate 3 mana off of your creatures, and those creatures are untapping. Valley Floodcaller is a 3 CMC Otter wizard. He has flash, and you may cast non-creature spells as though they had flash. Additionally, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, birds, frogs, otters, rats you control get +1/+1, and then you get to untap them. So whenever we're playing stuff like Storm Splitter, obviously, right? And then we had Valley Floodcaller, we have Mockingbird, that's going to clone something and turn it into a bird. And then additionally, we have Ledger Shredder. I put Wan Shi Tong in the deck as well. That's going to be another bird. Pollywog Prodigy is a frog wizard, so not only does it get benefits on all of our wizard doublers, additionally, it's just a frog, so we can untap with Valley Floodcaller, and then of course we have Birds of Paradise. So now if we have Enduring Vitality on the battlefield and a decent amount of birds, otters, or frogs, you can kind of just storm off anyway. Remember, a lot of these storm spells are 1 to 2 mana, and whenever we're doing that, we're able to untap our otters, birds, frogs, and then cast more spells because of the Enduring Vitality. Additionally, I will note Valley Floodcaller is a wizard, so if we have a way to double the Kraark trigger out, we're also doubling the Valley Floodcaller trigger. So just with Enduring Vitality and Valley Floodcaller, you're able to generate 2 mana off of just a single Valley Floodcaller, which will cast the majority of our cantrippy style spells. Just to briefly talk about our doublers, we have Roaming Throne. I'd put Harmonic Prodigy in the deck, and then we have Kraark's Thumb, which allows us to flip 2 coins instead of 1. All very, very good. There's also some really cool ways we can win with Harmonic Prodigy and Enduring Vitality with our duplication spells, like Molten Duplication, Flare of Duplication, and then Twin Flame. These are very good because they allow us to create token copies of creatures, and those creatures are going to have haste. So if you're able to create a token copy of Harmonic Prodigy, and let's just say one of those goes off and the other one goes into our hand, that's going to give you a hasty Harmonic Prodigy, and that's going to allow you to generate mana to again cast another Twin Flame, but now you have 2 Harmonic Prodigies, so you're flipping an additional coin. So you can kind of just storm off with infinite Harmonic Prodigies with non-deterministic storm, and that's why this deck is so fun. A lot of it is casting spells, crossing your fingers, and that is why I love it. I also did just want to talk about some broken cards that are really fun to double up on. Eldritch Evolution, insane. This is a 3 CMC sorcery that says as an additional cost to cast a spell, you sacrifice a creature, and then you get to search your library for a creature card with mana value 2 or less, where X is 2 plus the sacrificed creature's mana value. Put that card onto the battlefield, then exile Eldritch Evolution. What's really, really good about this is if we double it with Kraark, sacrificing our Thrasios, we can not only put Enduring Vitality onto the battlefield, but additionally, we can shove our Storm Splitter onto the battlefield, or it can find our doubler. You know, the possibilities are endless. It can also grab Roaming Throne, Enduring Vitality. You kind of just get to choose what you get in that moment, and the fact that it doubles up on it really breaks it because now we're putting 2 creatures onto the battlefield. We can kind of do something very similar with Neoform. Neoform says search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost equal to the sacrificed creature, so it's only 1 instead, but I will say Enduring Vitality does have that ability that if it dies, it comes back as an enchantment, so you can easily sacrifice Enduring Vitality to search up your Storm Splitter and then start your massive storm turn. I will note that also just doubling Kraark is sometimes enough to get you there, right? We have Jeska's Will. Jeska's Will allows you to add red mana to your mana pool equal to an opponent's hand, and then additionally you exile the top 3 cards of your library. So if we have enough effects that are doubling up on Kraark triggers, you kind of just get there by doubling up on those Jeska's Will and always returning it back to its hand, and then as long as someone has at least 3 cards in their hand, we're able to easily recast Jeska's Will. Really broken stuff. Kind of the same thing with Frantic Search. Frantic Search, you get to draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards, and then untap 3 lands. So again, as long as we get enough Kraark triggers, that's always going to come back to our hand, and we're always going to get to untap those 3 lands to recast our Frantic Search. Notably, very, very broken with Gaia's Cradle because Gaia's Cradle generates mana equal to your creatures, so you can just get increasingly more and more mana, and then you can actually start casting the spells, netting mana off of the Frantic Search. Kind of insane. Again, there's no shortage of ways to just storm off with this deck, and that's why I'm so in love with it. Some other broken cards of note, we have Manamorphose. You get to add 2 mana of any combination of colors to your mana pool, and then you get to draw a card. You have Hero's Hangout. You get to pay 1 mana to choose one, exile the top 2 cards of your library, choose one of them until end of your next turn. You may play that card. That's going to be what you're choosing, and this is going to be very good with your Valley Floodcaller and Enduring Vitality because Enduring Vitality and Valley Floodcaller generate 1 mana every time you cast a spell. It's kind of like having a Stormkiln Artist, so you're able to generate well, actually, Stormkiln Artist is way better in this deck because you net 1 off the cast and then off the copy, but I'm just saying, you net 1 mana, it's basically like Burgi. We'll say Burgi. Overmaster, 1 CMC sorcery that says the next instant sorcery spell you cast this turn can't be countered, and then you draw a card, so it can be a way to protect your winning card, and additionally, it is a cantrip, which cantrips are super powerful in this deck because as long as you're able to generate 1 mana and you can kind of win the odds and bounce it back to your hand, cantrips can draw you a ton of cards here, and all of our cantrips do have a little bit of added utility, like Veil of Summer. You get to draw a card if an opponent has cast a blue spell this turn, and then spells you control can't be countered this turn. You and permanents you control gain hexproof from blue and from black until end of turn. So it is a useful cantrip if you do use it to kind of protect your spells and stuff like that, but again, it's just adding utility to the deck, and you would want to be playing Veil of Summer anyway, so it's just going to add to the power. We're on Snap. You get to return target creature to its owner's hand, untap 2 lands. Benefactor's Drought, you get to untap all creatures until end of turn. Whenever a creature an opponent controls blocks, you get to draw a card, and then it just flat says draw a card. So again, kind of a cantrippy spell that does untap all of our creatures. Spellseeker, also a wizard, just wanted to point that out. Since she's a wizard, doubles up on all of our wizard effects. I love her. And then last but not least, we are on Brain Freeze combos. I'm not going to go through how Brain Freeze combos works, but we are on them here, and they are very strong. We do have intuition piles. If you want to see them, you can go ahead and look at the deck list in the description down below. Additionally, intuition piles are super strong here, especially if you get a double up on intuition. You can grab your Eternal Witness with your Noxious Revival and your Breach, so they have to give you probably Eternal Witness, and then Eternal Witness returns your Breach to your hand, and then you cast Breach, right? So there is a way to where they don't get a choice here, and the other one can just grab Brain Freeze, Lion Eye Diamond, and then a source of interaction. With that being said, let me know what you think about it in the comments down below, and I already know a lot of people have been brewing this deck for a while, so if you guys have any tech you think I should add to this deck, let me know in the comments down below, but explain it because I'm a little bit new to the deck, but I'm already in love. So with that being said, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.